to you. And I'm really pleased to have a couple of guys together with me today, obviously in our virtual world for the Future Print Virtual Summit. And these two gentlemen are both working for an organization called VIGC, which is effectively the Graphics Association in Belgium. And Jos is the CEO and Fons is supporting him, and Jos will explain a little bit more about the roles that they have. But I wanted to talk to the two of them today because obviously we focus a lot on our individual national print universes. And I really wanted to see what was going on and how things were different in other countries and specifically here in Belgium, and really to get a handle on whether there's a similarity, whether there are differences, and whether the ways in which we address the challenges that we're faced with are the same, or whether perhaps we're adopting different approaches. So let me first say, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Good morning to you both. Jos, just explain to us who you are and tell us a little bit about you both.
Thanks, Fraser. Thanks for having us on the show today. It's a pleasure to cooperate with you in this really nice event. So VIGC stands for Flemish Innovation Center for Graphic Communication. We are an innovation center, as the name explains. And we are active in Belgium and also the Netherlands, the Dutch-speaking part of both countries. What we do is we look at innovation through technology, technology and workflow processes, and of course also business models related issues, because they are both together, of course. And we try to inspire the graphic arts world in Belgium and the Netherlands by looking at that kind of innovation. And we do that by organizing, let's say, 4 or 5 events a year. We also give trainings, open trainings on specific graphic topics like PDF, color, smart packaging, printed electronics, web to print. We have open, but also in company trainings. We can give them in Dutch, but also in English. And then we have our consultancy, that's our one-to-one communication with the industry. And apart from being an innovation center, we are also a network organization.
And how many members do you have within that network? What's the kind of...
We have approximately 160 print production companies, PSPs, print service providers, and we have 24, and we call it strategic partners, and that are like OEMs, vendors, suppliers that support us in our daily business.
And you have quite a good handle, I guess. You have quite a good view through this network of what's happening to the market.
Yeah. And you introduced me. I'm the director of VIGC. Fons is the senior innovation expert. He focuses mainly on color, on connected print, printed electronics. So he's the guy who really goes in depth to those topics, and he knows really, really good what is happening on the market on a technological point of view.
Brilliant.
And we are doing both. We are looking at innovation technology in depth, and we try to understand the market, the Belgian, the Dutch market, but also, of course, the European and also worldwide market, and we try to benchmark them. And that's what makes it interesting. We try to inspire the members and the industry in both countries, but always from a technological point of view, a business point of view. That's what we do.
Fantastic. And Fons, just to say hi to you, and you're going to talk a little bit more specifically about packaging, I think, because you have a particular interest in some of the kind of key trends. Is that right?
Yes, maybe I can comment a little bit on a project we did with the Flemish government that was called Connected and Functional Printing. And that has a relationship with packaging. in that sense that a lot of the new technologies that are on the market are now used or tested in packaging applications.
Yep.
And there we see some are successful, some aren't. But you see that progress is being made, and a package can be rather complex, and gives a lot of opportunities for brand owners to detect new values and strengthen the relationship with the customers.
Sure.
And I think that will be a trend that will be continue, certainly in this world that we are going now, that people are more individual, capable of tracing and interfacing with their products.
So we're going to pick up a little bit more on that specifically to investigate and think a little bit more about it, and also talk to you because you've obviously done some research. But let me just start, Jos, with you. Just give me a sense of where we are now in terms of with the COVID-19 crisis. How have the network that you work with, how have they been challenged by this, and how do you sense that they're going to move forward with this?
Yeah, so I saw quite some figures about market trends, turnover, and what I see is that, for example, the figures from EPA in Great Britain, the figures of KVGO in the Netherlands, of Fibelgra in Belgium, and BVDM in Germany, they're all pointing to the same thing. Turnover is drastically going down. Print production is going down, but mainly in the submarkets, as I call it, commercial print and large format printing. So you see there at those two submarkets, you see a dramatic decline in number of jobs, but also in turnover, and you see the same thing happening in all those countries.
Sure.
If you look at the submarket packaging and labels, you see the opposite. Because especially when the crisis started, people ran to the supermarkets and buy a lot of stuff. I don't know how you say it in English, and Dutch is hamstring. But
panicking, so I think is the expression.
What is the expression?
Panicking. People were panicking.
Yeah, also panicking, of course, yeah.
Tissue, toilet paper.
Yeah, things like that. So those companies are doing good business. Also, the medical sector is doing good. So you have a split in the graphic arts industry, where you see other figures in commercial print, wide format, and packaging labels. So for the
would you say, Jos, that the research that we've done here sort of backs up the research that you're hearing from Fibelgra? Yeah. So basically, the markets that have particularly struggled have been wide format, perhaps commercial print, and the ones that are doing better, of course, are packaging, corrugated and carton.
Of course. Yeah, of course. And also commercial print, it all depends what kind of jobs you submit to the submarkets, of course.
Of course.
Because in Belgium, for example, you see that newspapers are suffering, magazines are suffering. You have some weeklies that are out of business for 5, 6, 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Also, flyers and folders are going down. For example, in Belgium, the government made a restriction in foldering. So in making advertisements in the supermarkets. So they couldn't do new actions for specific products in the supermarket. So print was suffering from that.
Yeah, particularly that sort of point of purchase, point of sale, little posters that would have gone into your supermarket that were advertising a promotion. That's just stopped, isn't it?
Things like that, yeah. They are now picking on.
Of course.
Yeah. So now you see that those weeklies are coming back. Also, the folders and flyers are coming back in the mailbox, in the physical mailbox. So, but of course, that gives a delay on the figures and the turnover, and that has a great impact on the first and of course also the second quarter of this year. If you look at the financial figures.
So everything you say is completely logical. I think we've kind of know that. We've heard, it's pretty much across Europe and the world. So what are you saying to your network in terms of kind of, well, okay, guys, hang on, let's get through this. What are you saying to them?
We have to keep positive.
What do you say? Sorry, say again?
We need to be positive, but we don't need to be naive, of course.
Okay.
You have a situation, and we have to deal with that situation. I think that the companies that were not healthy before the crisis will disappear.
Okay. No, I think that's valid, isn't it?
That is bad news for those companies. But maybe if the crisis didn't occur, maybe they would be going bankrupt by the end of the year of next year. So that's a fact.
Yep.
The healthy or the more healthy companies will benefit from that because market share comes free and they can't pick in. But what I think is overall, the market share will decrease.
Shrink.
So it will shrink. At the end, we don't go to the 100%, but maybe to the 75 or the 80%.
Sure.
The other thing is that I think we will pass some time, or there will be some time till we are going to reach the point of 75, 80% from now. There will be a time between when we set open the market again and when we have again full capacity.
Of course.
So what we say to our companies is that they need to communicate with their customers. They need to keep the communication going. Need to look at their processes, not only on their processes, but also on their products. They need to look further than today. They have to look to the future and how they are going to cope with the new normal that is going to be
the future
planted in the next months, because you have a pre-corona era and a post-corona era. So, and
you're right. I think you're right.
You can't expect that everything will be the same within 2 months or so.
And I really like the fact that you were quite clear there about saying, look, we've said to the companies there are things you must do to look forward. Fons, anything you wanted to add to that? I know when we briefly spoke before, you just had a slightly different view, but any comment?
I noted some things here. For example, your white format figure. If you look at typically in Belgium, because the government has announced a date when all the shops will be open again and all commercial activity can start up. And that was a trigger for the printing plants with white format and stickers to full production capacity of beyond, to prepare panels for keeping distance and name it, all these products.
Good point.
Because that was an opportunity for them. So I think that's something we have to keep in mind. This is a crisis, but you see new opportunities rising up.
Of course.
And that's the whole point of a good organized company who is able to respond quickly to new situations. If you can do that, you will be, I think, a winner.
It's interesting because I think Jos's point is right, that there will inevitably be some fallout from this crisis, and perhaps maybe the companies which were, maybe a little bit stuck in what they were doing, maybe they weren't so innovative. What you're basically saying, I think what Jos is saying is that, the companies that are innovative, the companies that move quickly, are flexible, agile, ready to go, who've not completely stopped and are waiting until September before they start again, will be the ones that will be able to take the single or the shorter level opportunities that exist out there
Yeah.
to do something.
There
Yeah,
will
I
be
think
opportunities.
if I can react on that, I
Yes,
think
of course.
Fons makes a good point, but you have to look quite in detail to the figures,
Of course.
because it is correct that you can make up a lot with new products like plexi and stickers and gels and things like that. But that won't make up the loss you have overall in a company by missing out all the POS materials, all the other stuff that you do. So if you look at the figures, also for the examples Fons mentioned, is that that is only 30, 40, 50% of the global turnover that they had before the Corona crisis.
Yeah.
So, but it's good that they do it, and you have to do it, and it will help them to overcome the crisis better than those who won't invest in new products.
Yeah.
And but
so that's a good question. That's a good point, isn't it? About investment at this point, whether people, because obviously people are worried about money, and businesses will be looking at their turnover and their revenues and thinking, well, do I invest now? Do I invest in a new machine? Do I, the chances are that if you're a manufacturer of a piece of technology in the wide format market, that you are looking at this and thinking this is going to be really tough for us to sell machinery. So is there a difference in the way that the manufacturers will approach business? Will they think about things differently? Will they be saying, look, we need to service the current products more effectively. We need to service the machines more effectively. What do you think?
I think you can take up the thought of the Industry 4.0 thought, to be flexible and have a company that is structured client-wise. Look, what is the market demanding or asking from me, and how quickly can I make it, and how effectively can I make it?
There's agility, isn't it? Is that ability to be agile, to be quick?
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I see is, at the end of the day, it's all about money. In the beginning of the crisis, you see that everybody is very compliant, and everybody understands each other, and there is a lot of positive thinking. But when the crisis evolves, you have a lot of liquidity problems.
Yeah.
Liquidity problems at the PSPs, but also at the manufacturers.
Sure.
So, at what point is the threshold that will make those more compliant attitude to a more business, and now I need the money, show me the money attitude, So what I saw in the beginning of the crisis, that a lot of PSPs were going to their banks and asked for delay for payments. Most of the time that works.
Yeah.
But of course, you can get a delay for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, but at the end of the day, you have to pay. Maybe
of course
the suppliers are also a little bit.
Yeah. So do you think there might be more flexibility in terms of payment terms, in relationships of loans, and maybe manufacturers might need to be more accommodating in terms of payment for a new piece of technology? Is that what you're thinking? That we all have to think differently about the business model?
I think the best thing we can do is to be a little bit flexible.
Yeah, sure.
To rethink our business models, to rethink the business models of the PSPs. And Fons mentioned some really nice examples of large format printers that are doing great stuff in the market right now.
Yeah.
Also, I think the suppliers have to be more open to more thinking out of the box in a way of helping the PSPs, because nobody wants to have in Belgium 150 companies out of business, of course, by the end of the summer. That's not good for the suppliers neither. So, but if they are going to do that, I don't know. I didn't talk with the suppliers on that subject. I know they are doing a lot of teaching.
Yeah.
Right now. They are doing a lot of webinars.
What are they doing? What are they doing? Are they doing educating? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they are doing educating. That's just like we try to do because our physical trainings stopped.
Yeah.
We stopped them till the end of June right now.
Yeah.
And then we were thinking, what are we going to do? And we started free stay in your home, hashtag stay in your home.
That's good. That's good.
Every Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. We have short sessions about the technical subject, and we talk about that. And then we send the recording to the people, and also to the non-members, so to the members and the non-members. So we're trying to use the crisis to spread information, technical information, and to try to connect to our target audience, members, not members. And I think the suppliers are doing the same. If you look at...
Okay, so that's a good point. So you'd be saying to suppliers, look at what we're doing, look at this as an opportunity to explore some other things you wouldn't normally do, like educating via things like this, virtual technology. You're encouraging them to try new things.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I think that's really important.
Yeah, good. Fons, let me just come back to you more specifically. I know you want to talk to us a little bit about the packaging side, and I think this is quite interesting because obviously, you know, all the research, our research, Febelgras, all the numbers that are out there suggest that packaging is doing okay out of the crisis. But actually, it was going to be an opportunity anyway. The packaging market potentially is interesting because of plastics and so forth. So tell us a bit more about that.
If you look at the packaging, it's a complex product.
Yeah, sure.
It has a lot of functionalities. It is not only carrying the content, but there's a lot more about it, the marketing value of it. And that's an evolution that is going up. Not typically, how can you interact directly with the package? And now the industrial world is equipped with a smartphone that is seen now as a basic instrument to use to enhance the value of a packaged product.
Sure.
And you see a lot of companies working on this, researching and trying to look for methods to add a cheap and affordable format to communicate with the package through the smartphone.
So you're talking here more about the visual communication relationship between packaging and the consumer.
Yes, and that again, it's the same idea as they're using their smartphones in the Corona crisis to track and trace. Same principle.
Okay.
The brand owner is also interested to track and trace you when you buy your package.
Your behavior in terms of
your behavior and so on. Okay. And it's that picture, and you see that technically. It started with QR codes that are gaining popularity.
Yeah.
The radio communication that is brought up with RFID and NFC tags. Mm-hmm. And you see new developments, like they use the smartphone screen now as a sort of interface with the package. It will be very cheap, and you see new options popping up. And I expect there to...
Okay, so that one, let's just park that for a moment. You were saying that in terms of development of packaging, technology is going to be increasingly, it's clear, but it's kind of increasingly important. What about for us, the print industry, the opportunities that exist within packaging on different materials, the challenges of plastics? What are you sensing there?
Natuurlijk the plastic paper discussion, and maybe some other topic. You see, it's how quickly things can change. That's my thought of this. Because you had, before the crisis, the paper plastics discussion.
Yep.
That's completely offline now. and plastics are rethought to can be very useful in this period. Because of the hygienic properties. Because things can change very quickly. Yeah. And you see all print products also popping up that are made with special coatings to be more hygienic as others.
Yeah, so you think that what's happened is there was And Jos, I'd be interested to hear what you think as well. There was a sense that sustainability was a story. This kind of plastics issue was really increasing, and that's pivoted using
Yes.
everyone's using to be more about hygiene and cleanliness and ink transfer and all these things that are really important. Is that right? Is that
yes, that's it. This, you can't predict the future.
No, of course not.
You can't predict the future, and you have always a new situation. And how quickly can I respond to it?
Sure.
That will be very useful in this moment.
Yeah, Jos, did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think at the moment funds make a point, but I think if you look at in the long term, the ecological importance of print and plastics will pop up again. I think this is something we started and we have to deal with it, and I'm sure that this discussion will go beyond this crisis, and we will take it up it will continue, and we have to look for alternatives, and that sustainability is very, very, very important, and I think we don't go back to the old, but we will go to a new kind of packaging in this area. So maybe it's a little bit on hold right now. But I'm sure we will pick it up quite soon. And if you look at our society, and you pick it and you see it more broadly than only the graphic arts industry.
Yeah.
If you see how people are thinking about, let's say, travel, what is going to happen with the flight companies?
Yeah.
I think that will be. We have to rethink that, and it will be very different post than pre-corona.
Of course.
So. And the ecological part is very important in that.
Yeah. Okay.
Also in other industries. So I think.
Do you think it will carry on being important?
If something will change the world after Corona, it will be the insights of the ecological part and how we are living our lives today. People will see that maybe we were. Too fast.
Okay.
We have to come back to our.
Because I'm a little bit conscious of time. I just want to bounce this thought off you. Something for both of you to think about. We're hearing that there's an issue with supply chain, and that generally we're now, because of the crisis, we've all started to think a little bit more about the supply chain, the length of that supply chain, and the fact that it was coming from the Far East and it was taking time to get here. And so is there something to be learnt from that? And does that benefit the print industry on a local scale?
It could be, it could be. It all depends on after the crisis, what they're going to do with the lessons learned.
Yeah, sure. Fons, did you want to say something there? Because I could see you were thinking.
Yes, I don't think you can change the supply chain.
Okay.
I don't think so, because to do that, it will demand a lot of energy and costs.
Sure, but
go locally.
Sorry, we were saying that digital, rather than, let's be thinking more in terms of print when we need it, print locally, print digital, rather than, the flexibility that might come through now?
We had a little bit the impulse of print locally, I buy locally print products. There's a double opinion about this. Huh?
Okay.
If everybody does it, your export is gone. And that's two forces that go difficult to combine. Yeah. Because I think that's not point number one. That's not point number one. As a company, you need to be ready. You have to be aware that the world has changed.
Yeah. And
you have to respond. And maybe I can recommend, do you know the football player Johan Cruyff?
Yes.
So he had one sentence that's completely true. He said every disadvantage has its advantage.
Of course.
And that's what it is. And you see this also in our organization as an innovation center. Okay, we are not allowed anymore to visit companies for the moment. Like Jos mentioned, we took the idea to every Friday afternoon have a short power session about technology. And you see, there was a lot of response to it.
Yeah, that's
and
really
companies
good.
have contacted us afterwards. Said, okay, we didn't know that. Can we do something together and so on? Opportunities.
So I want to get a takeaway from this. I want us to just what that takeaway from this conversation is. And I think what you're saying there is that you as an organization have thought differently about what you're doing, and you've put some of your content. One of the things that you were really good at the RGC was you have some fantastic congresses, you have some really good training, you do lots of in-house, you're very good at that. So what you said is, look, we're still delivering that, we're just delivering it in a different way. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
So that would be your takeaway from this.
That would be your takeaway. Be creative, embrace digital, make a good combination between physical and digital. So that will be the main takeaway.
People will be forced to innovate.
Yep.
Why wouldn't companies not? They also will be forced to innovate.
Yeah, I think everything you said makes sense.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. I think we're coming to, that's about 30 minutes or so. So it's good to have some thoughts from both of you. Thank you very much for the pair of you. I'm grateful for you to be here and on our virtual summit, and hope to see you both in real soon, whenever that might be. So thank you to both of you, and stay safe.